good morning to all of you, my dear students. Again, today is your science turn, and today we'll be completing the explanation part of lesson number 4. This will be the part 4 of lesson number 4, heat. We have done up to how the heat is in the liquids and in the gases, how the heating takes place with the help of the convection or the about the land breeze and the sea breeze, and about the radiation, how the rays of the sun that comes on the earth and heats the water of the sun. So that is through the transfer. The heat is transferred through the process mode of radiation, while in liquids and gases the heat transfer takes place through convection, and the first method was the conduction that we had studied. The three modes of the transfer of heat is your conduction, convection and radiation. Now as you all know that heat transfers from a higher object to a lower object, मतलब कि जो गर्म है उससे ठंडे की तरफ जो है वो हीट जो है वो ट्रांसफर होती है. Now today we'll be doing the last part. This is very simple and easy part of the lesson. Now we'll start on from page number 43. All hot bodies radiate heat. When the heat falls on some object, a part of it is reflected, a part of it is absorbed, and the part may be transmitted. The temperature of the object increases due to the absorbed part of the heat. Why are you advised to use an umbrella when you go out in the sun? Now here see, all the bodies radiate heat. That means the heat is radiated. That means heat is given out by all the bodies. All the bodies give out the heat. When the heat falls on some object, a part of it is reflected. Now when the heat that is radiated by the objects falls on some of the other objects, then that heat is absorbed by either it is some part of that heat, not totally, but some part of that heat is absorbed by the object, some of it is reflected by that object, and some of it is transmitted to the other objects. So when the heat is absorbed by an object, the part of the heat that is absorbed by an object raises the temperature of that object. वो object का temperature बढ़ जाता है जब वो heat जो है absorb करता है. जो heat उस ऑब्जेक्ट पे पड़ती है, वो हीट अगर जितनी एब्जॉर्ब करता है उस के लेवल से जो है वो उसका टेम्परेचर जो है वो ऑब्जेक्ट का बढ़ जाता है. इसलिए दैट इज़ वाई इट इज़ टोल्ड दैट व्हेन यू गो आउट इन द सन यू टेक एन अम्ब्रेला सो दैट द हीट इज़ नॉट ट्रांसमिटेड ऑन टू यू. वो बीच में जो अम्ब्रेला आएगा उससे क्या होगा, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द हीट विल बी रिफ्लेक्टेड बैक. इफ़ you are using a white umbrella, then majority of heat will be reflected back. White will not absorb the heat. A little bit of heat will be there, so you will feel cooler when you are out in the sun using an umbrella. Kinds of clothes we wear in summer and winter. We see, according to the season we wear different kinds of clothes. So why do we wear such kinds of clothes? According to the season. So according to the season we wear different type of clothes. In summer we wear light colored cotton clothes so that it keeps the temperature of our body less or cool. It keeps our body cool. Whereas in the summer when we wear a dark colored clothes, so that because that time it is cold, so we need the heat in our body, so it provides the dark colored clothes absorbs the heat and it keeps the body temperature maintained. We'll feel a little bit of heat by wearing those dark colored and the woolen clothes. As you all know, wool is a bad conductor of heat, so it does not allow the heat to transfer out into the atmosphere from the body. Now we'll read this. You know that in summer we prefer light colored cotton clothes and in winter we usually wear dark colored clothes. Why it is so? Let us find out. So you know that in summer we wear light colors, especially it is advisable to wear white colors clothes in summer so that maximum heat is radiated out, and in winter you should wear dark colored clothes so that you can the heat from the atmosphere can be absorbed by the clothes and you feel less cold. Now this is your activity number 4.10, which is on page number 43 only. Take two identical tin cans, paint the outer surface of one black and of the other white. Pour equal amount of water in each and leave them in the midday sun for about an hour. Measure the temperature of water in both the cans. Do you find any difference in the temperature? Now this is a small experiment. और अगर आप लोगों के घर में किसी के पास सोलर कुकर है तो ये बहुत ईजिली ब्लैक टिन्स तो आपको मिल ही सकते हैं, because the solar cooker, the vessels they provide, the tins that they provide are coated black, so that it absorbs the maximum heat and can easily cook the food and fast also. So the experiment is that to show that why we wear white colored and dark colored clothes in summer and winter season, just to prove the reason we are doing the experiment. So one color it with black and other with white, and then pour some water and leave it in the sun. Means जब एकदम दिन में जब तेज धूप होती है तब उस समय 1 घंटे के लिए आप उस पानी को आप जो है धूप में रखिए, एंड आफ्टर दैट फाइंड आउट द डिफरेंस इन द टेम्परेचर. फर्स्ट मेजर द टेम्परेचर एंड नोट डाउन द टेम्परेचर एंड देन फाइंड व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस इन द टेम्परेचर. मूविंग ऑन टू पेज नंबर 44. In which can is the water warmer? You can feel the difference even by touching the water in the two cans. Now here you can see the two cans. You can see this one is coated black or one is painted black and other is painted white, and the same quantity of water is placed in both the cans. So even if you don't measure the temperature, by touching the water also you can feel that which one is hotter and which one is cooler. You will find that the one water which is black has the water has a more temperature in the black painted tin compared to the tin which is white painted, क्योंकि white जो है heat absorb ही नहीं करेगा तो पानी उसमें गर्म नहीं होगा, लेकिन black वाला जो है it absorbs maximum heat. So what happens is that the water in this can will the temperature of the water in this can will increase faster compared to the can which is painted white, because it will absorb a very less amount of heat. तो इसका पानी धीमे धीमे गर्म होगा और इसका पानी जल्दी से गर्म होगा, which proves that it absorbs more heat from the sun. Now there are some points that we should study. We often use electricity and fuel like coal and wood to keep our houses cool or warm. Is it possible to construct buildings like that, not affected much by the heat and cold outside? This can be done by constructing outer walls of the buildings so that they have trapped layers of air. One way of doing this is to use hollow bricks which are available these days. Now here what is given is, as you all know, in the summer season our homes become too hot because the heat that falls on our the walls of our house is absorbed by that walls, and slowly the temperature inside the rooms also start increasing. We feel more hot during the summer season as the sun goes up. So, and during the winter times we feel cold. So here now there is it is asking that whether it is possible that if we have a least effect of the temperature in our houses, whether it is cold season or it is a hot season. So now it is possible that because by using the hollow bricks that are now available these days, using the hollow bricks, there will be the air gaps will be there. So the the outer layer of the buildings of that they have trapped layers of air. Now those layers of air will help you in maintaining the temperature. Now you can use those hollow bricks which are now available in the market these days for the construction also. Now activity 4.11 we'll do in the next video. Is your activity 4.11. In 4.10 we had seen that the water in the can which was painted black was hotter than the one which was painted white. Now what is activity 4.11 says? Fill the two cans used in activity 4.10. We have to again take these two cans and fill it with the water as we had done earlier, with the same amount of hot water at the same temperature, say 60 degrees centigrade. Now this water only we have to take as we had done in the activity 4.10. Now what should be the temperature? The temperature of water should be around 60 degrees centigrade. Now leave the cans in a room or in a shade Now here you don't have to put the cans in the sun. Here you have to either keep the cans in a room or in a shade. Note the temperature of water after 10 to 15 minutes. Now after 15 minutes, keeping those water in a shade or in a room, after 15 minutes, you measure the temperature of both the cans. Does the temperature of water in both cans fall by the same amount? Do these activities suggest to you that the reason why it is more comfortable to wear white or colored clothes in the summer and dark colored clothes in winter? See, dark surfaces absorb more heat and therefore we feel comfortable with the dark colored clothes in the winter. Light colored clothes reflect most of the heat and falls on them, and therefore we feel more comfortable wearing them in the summer. Now when we have kept this, you can see the fall in the temperature is does the temperature of water in both the cans fall in the same amount? No, it will not fall in the same amount. In this it will be less, and in this it will be still more compared to the both the cans. So this is the reason. Now the reason they have explained why they have done this activity is that when you wear the light colored clothes in cotton, you feel more comfortable because most of the heat is reflected. मतलब कि जो भी heat पड़ती है वो वापस reflect होकर वापस चली जाती है. वो जो darker shades होते हैं वो absorb करते हैं और lighter shades उनको absorb नहीं करते. इसलिए क्या होता है, हमको ठंडक महसूस होती है जब हम गर्मी में लाइट कलर्ड कपड़े पहनते हैं, एंड वी फील मोर कंफर्टेबल वेयरिंग डार्क कलर्ड क्लोथ्स इन द विंटर बिकॉज वी फील हॉट. आवर बॉडी फील्स कंफर्टेबल विद दैट. सो दिस इज द रीजन. नाउ वुलन क्लोथ्स कीप अस वार्म इन विंटर. दिस इज द लास्ट टॉपिक ऑफ द लेसन. In the winter, we use woolen clothes. Wool is a poor conductor of the heat. Moreover, the air is trapped in between the wool fibers. The air prevents the flow of heat from our body to the cold surroundings, so we feel warm. Suppose you are given the choice in winter of using either one thick blanket or two thin blankets joined together. What would you choose and why? Remember that there is a layer of air between the blankets. Now अब इसमें क्या दिया हुआ है कि जो woolen clothes होते हैं, wool is a bad conductor of heat, as we have already told, because that is why in winter we wear woolen clothes, because it does not allow the heat that is trapped inside between the wool fibers to move out into the atmosphere. See, when we are wearing a woolen clothes, then the temperature of our body is more compared to the outside temperature. So obviously the heat has to flow from our body to the atmosphere. But because we are wearing the sweaters, the layers of the air between the fibers of the wool traps that and does not allow it to move out into the atmosphere. So that is why our body remains hot, and we feel our body feels heated when we wear the wool fiber. We don't feel cold. So supposing the choice is given that if we are given a one thick blanket and you are given two blankets together joined one upon the other, then what will you prefer to you? We will prefer two blankets, because there's an air of layer between those two woolens, and the air of the layer traps that heat inside. It won't allow to move out into the atmosphere. So we will prefer the two blankets rather than one thick blanket. Now here we come to the end of the lesson, and already keywords and exercises of this we have done. Now we will be doing in the workbook. We have already done some part of the question answers in the workbook also. Now this is what you have learned. This is the gist of the whole lesson that we have learned. पूरा ये लेसन का जो सार है, ये पूरा ये जितने भी पॉइंट्स दिए हुए हैं, दिस इज द कंप्लीट जिस्ट ऑफ द लेसन. नाउ लेसन नंबर 4 is complete in your textbook. We'll do the long answers in the workbook now, and there's some experiments also that also we'll be doing in the workbook, and all that you have to write it in your notebook also one time after completing in the workbook. Now we'll start with the workbook part.